What's up, everybody? So there was a ton of love on the last video, so I appreciate you guys. And somebody even recognized me in game. I don't know if he wants me name dropping him, but shout out to my buddy from Castle of Steel. Hope you enjoy, brother. And if you're wondering why these aren't 1vx clips to start here, it's because this is from that match. It was a super quick match, pretty much random over, so I figured no harm in just throwing a couple kills in there. But I basically tried to get in the front door. There was an ice shower, an ice storm, a gravity well, just everything you can think of. So I circle around back here, looking for some squishy players. I chase that damn musket 2 times already, keeps getting away. But we skipped forward here a little bit. I'm trying to be more selective lately with which clips I use. Like, I had a few 20+ kill games and didn't get a single kind of just moment that I wanted to use for a video because there was just too much time in between kills. And it seems like when there's a lot of downtime in between kills, that's when people tend to tune out. So finally get on this musket here, and like I was saying, we got 2 more kills there on the way down here, but they were kind of slow. So skip ahead to this point and basically just javelin the first person we see. Got a 40% rend on this guy, or girl, PvP princess. See the healer up there, but this guy just got net shotted and he's already low, so that catches my attention. And we get the javelin on him. He slips away, but he's super rended. We got like 10 teammates down there, so that's pretty much a death sentence. So I'll go up to deal with the healer, but this is basically the end of this match. We just full held him. I think I finished 9-0. And it was a super short match. But it wasn't even the healer I actually wanted to grab, but get the slow off the poke with the spear, and there's not a lot you can do. This next clip, there is a musket fire staff shooting at me and a fire staff abyss. I've already killed both of these guys a couple times, but they just keep respawning, so I just kind of risk it. Go for the respawn beacon first, then deal with these guys just to make sure they stay dead this time. This guy misses his cannon blast here. Unlucky for him. I accidentally blocked nothing. I don't know why my mouse keeps messing up lately. But I know this guy likes to run, so as soon as I get him low, throw a bio bomb on him. But gotta bob him, leave a little bit there, brother. Throwing hatchet, super hard to hit, but not if you're running in a straight line. This match, I don't know why, but there was a lot of heavy flamethrowers. I don't know if they were a group or what, but it seemed like they were dying down lately. But there was just a crap ton of them in this match for some reason. But I'm not just going to face tank that, so create some space, get away a little bit, turn around, see if we can get a pick. And I realized this guy never even healed up. Not sure why, but going after this guy here, I realized, oh, this was the heavy flamethrower. Not dealing with that. Hit a reset, the chase is back on. And all of these last clips are actually from the same match. My team got absolutely steamrolled and just gave up super early. You'll see it in the chat pop up on the side here in a little bit. People talking about, just let them have it, get your points, blah blah blah. It's like, come on man, the match just started. So I'm basically just back here trying to backgap, see if we can get anything done. At least maybe if everybody else can hold the other fort and I can hold this fort, then, you know, there's a chance. But kill that guy, skip forward a little bit because I was chopping that damn door for a while. Clearly that guy doesn't land where I think he's going to. And I didn't know you actually get like a second of spawn protection when you spawn off the beacon. I thought as soon as you were visible, you were fair game. But I sweep right through that guy, so I guess you do. There's like 4 bows shooting at me, so we hit a reset, get a heal off, wait for somebody to make a mistake. And this guy gets antsy trying to see where I went, peeks the door. That's about all it took. We get him down. Take advantage of the haste while we have it. Get a heal off. And double back. But you're going to be seeing a lot of these 2 guys. They were here basically the whole time I was here. Refused to go do anything else. Uh, we actually lived this at the end here, but it was a pretty long time before I got another kill, aside from just attacking the door, so skip ahead. I want to javelin this guy and get the rend on him, because he's heavy, but he's still in the middle of the crosscut, which has grit, so we dodge, wait a second, take him down. But this whole last clip is basically just one long clip, because I really wasn't sure how in the world to even edit this and make it interesting. Because it's basically, I'm back here chopping the door, somebody comes out, I kill him. Like, and sometimes it's 5-6 people chasing me. And I basically just gotta escape, try to make a pick, and try to get something done, and eventually make my way back to the door. It's the whole point of being here. But if you want to skip ahead to the build guide, completely understand if this isn't your thing. We get the heal off, and I immediately go for Bowmain here. Nothing against him, I just already know he's squishy because I fought him a couple times. Probably would have had him, but they got a healer this time. So Sacred Ground, no bueno for 1vx. Try to pull them away while that's still on cooldown. It looked like my javelin went right through that guy to me, but it is what it is. A couple of these guys think they're slick, trying to run through the base to meet me at the other side. They didn't realize yet that I double backed. But the greatsword's back, he figured it out. But again, try to get squishy guys first. But he's out of reach, so I try to keep Rend on the heavy player as much as I possibly can, pretty much saving my javelin for him. And if you're wondering why sometimes I'll hit my Raging Torrent, even when it looks like I'm losing the fight, like why would I stand and trade, when it's 2v1 and I'm taking more damage than I'm doing. Get a pretty decent burst heal off of it, even while you're taking damage, so it's usually typically about even trade health-wise, but it also gives me a 20% haste. So a lot of times I'll just throw the first 2 hits of Torrent out and then dodge out of the ability and take off with my haste. So kind of just a little bit of foreplanning on your escape. But again, Javelin the heavy player. I really wish I would have realized this guy was also a life staff player. I wouldn't have popped Berserk here, because now I wish I could use my Bile Bomb. If you didn't know, using Bile Bomb does count as a weapon swap. So it will take your Berserk away from you. And if you have Fortify and Perforate on your spear, or Gaining Power, something like that, it'll take that from you as well. But we get the Bile Bomb on him, but it's just not seeming like it matters. Looking at the door like, man, wish I could go back to just chopping my door. But these guys aren't going to have it. They're sick of my crap. There's like 9 of them. They probably think they got me dead here, but we got the Zephyr Cakes, we got the Raging Torrent, Social Distance, Berserk. We just have a crap load of haste. Like, if we want to get away, pretty much always can. The match is long past over at this point, but I'm just determined to get in this damn door, just on principle. I thought Bowmain learned his lesson, but back near the edge again. Guess he forgot. But we're super rended, rooted, take way too much burst. Little reset, pop a heal. Heavy player falls for it again, tries to cut through the base. And that would have been probably a confirmed kill if I land the Javelin combo, but sadly we miss. And next couple seconds here, kind of just agony. Just the pain of being double melee against light armor range players, chasing these guys around. I know he wants the door, but if I can't have the door, can't have the door. And I accidentally dodged the wrong way. Just pain. The musket, if you see how damn far away this guy is, he's, I guess, just tired of dying. He wants to be nowhere near me, but still shoot at me. So, that's fine. And we almost get Bowmain again. And I finally land my damn root. So, we can go back to chopping away at my door. And he's still just up there shooting at me, but with Blooddrinker on, just guaranteed hits on the door, I might as well be staying in a sacred ground. No problem just tanking through one range player. 2's a little iffy, 3 probably not going to work. But I can basically just ignore this musket. But I see rain of arrows, so I'm like, oh, bowman's probably back. And you remember this time, don't overpeak. But sadly, just used my Raging Torrent right before the heavy player comes back down. This guy must just be dying a lot on the front line or something. Keeps reappearing here. But we take way too much burst. Gotta try a reset. And this is just about the end here. I'm just trying like hell to get in anywhere at this point. But I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Fire staff hammer. And he's a flamethrower. Alright. And probably win this here if I don't get desynced on my cyclone. But that's how they get me. So I thought I'd go a little bit more in depth this time with the build guide. Somebody mentioned in my last video that I changed up my gems, and I definitely should have mentioned that in the video because your gem selection is more important than most of your armor perks, because that 20% thrust resistance is an actual 20% damage mitigation, whereas something like Enchanted Ward says 4%, but it's actually just a base damage modifier. So if you want to know how effective it really is, you take roughly 60% of that, and that's typically how effective it is. Why I went with thrust and the rest opals, because the meta right now is mostly ranged bows and muskets. They convert half their damage to any random element, and fire staffs are also trying to get around people's fire resistance by converting half their damage. So this is just the best way to avoid as much range damage as possible. There's also a lot more VGIG builds popping up and Abyss players. So this just seemed like the best solution to the current meta. I tried just going with Koyas, but they suck. I run Shirking Heals on all my armor. Shirking Fortification's fine. I'd be fine with Elemental Aversion or Enchanted Ward here. Critical Retribution, because crit chance is super important for this build. This is actually very easy to get because if you craft any 2-perker, this is the most likely 3rd perk that you'll get for a helmet. The chest, Frigid Dawn with Shirking Heals on it. Hopefully, this should be a lot easier for people to get soon. Instead of just farming the dungeon and praying they get the one they want, they should be getting added to the Gypsum Kiln to be able to craft with materia. Legs, same thing. Crafted a new pair of mittens. I forced Shirking Heals, Leeching Cyclone. Crafted 3 of them and just prayed. One of them was a damage mitigation for the 3rd perk. Elemental Aversion's good enough. Tumbler Feet Wraps with Shirking Heals, just the best way to go for most medium builds. Stamina Recovery saves you every once in a while. You don't really notice it until you don't have it. I always run some kind of protection because this is the same as gems. This is an actual 15% mitigation. Divine is just, you get too much value out of it with this build to not run it. Between Blooddrinker, Shirking Heals, Regenerating on the Earring, Defy Death, and this still works with potions, even though it's not supposed to. So that'll probably get fixed eventually, but just so you know, still works with potions. Keen Awareness on Blooddrinker, again, crit chance, super important. Empowering Toast, I've been running this a lot lately, and it's super nice to have just because every time I'm about to run into a fight, I try to pop a regen pot first. So just having that Empowering Toast for most of the fight's pretty nice. I always run regen, it's just free health. And since I don't run Healthy Toast anymore because you can't overlap it with Empowering Toast, it's nice to just have my other 2 potions up slightly more often. This version of Bio Bomb specifically is pretty nice if you're still running Exhausted Exploitation, because you don't have to worry about hitting in the back to proc the exhaust. So as soon as you Bio Bomb and then hit them at all once, they're double slowed on top of the disease and the dot. Pen Backstab on the Hatchet, there's no way I'm getting rid of this. Depending who you're hitting, this can literally almost double your damage whether you hit them in the face or the back. Vicious, I take this over Rogue just because you still end up hitting people in the face a lot, especially 1vxing. Keen Berserk, super strong when it's active, it's just not active very often. So I'm still kind of torn whether I want to stick with this or go back to my Exhausted Exploitation Hatchet. If you didn't watch my old video explaining why I run Moonstone on Hatchet, basically the short answer is Berserk counts as being on cooldown while it's active. So if you pop Berserk, throw social distance, and go into Raging Torrent, as soon as you hit the button for Raging Torrent, the Moonstone is active. So you're getting 20% from Berserk and 20% from the Moonstone. The Spear, I changed up a little bit. I'm not running pen backstab right now. Tried keenly empowered just because the way I play the Spear, I don't really have time to dodge to people's back when they're on the ground. If I want to try and get the full combo off, so I end up getting more damage value out of keenly empowered. I also went back to Opal over Emerald. Even after the nerf, it just has so much more uptime than the Emerald that you end up getting more value out of this. And I run a Rune Glass on just the Spear because of this passive here. As soon as you put that dot on them, they take an extra 10% damage. When you hit them with the Javelin, that puts a rend on them. It's another 10%. You hit them with Cyclone, that's a slow. That's another 10% here and 10% from 200 strength. Then when you go into sweep, they're knocked down, so they're taking another 25% damage. On top of all this, they're already 40% rended from the Javelin. And then the stab, Scorpion's thing comes with Trenchant Strikes, heavy attacks deal 23% more damage. And this stab counts as a heavy attack. That's why I was running this for a little bit for the extra cooldown reduction. But it's just better to have one of these three here, one of the stamina options for the way I play. And this one's just the most consistent. Somebody asked in my last video why I had points into Vault Kick. It's because if you want to run these three abilities and still get to Exploited Weakness, you have to put points into every single passive on this side and into an ability that you're not actually going to use. The main combo of this build is Javelin, and as long as they land close enough to your feet that you don't have to run towards them, you have time to light attack, animation cancel into Cyclone, and then as soon as people take that much damage, the first thing they always do is dodge. Even if they're not dodging anything specifically, they're just always going to dodge. So wait for their dodge, match their direction, dodge towards them, then sweep into stab, and that's enough to kill a lot of light players just with those three abilities. The Hatchet tree, this is super nice just because this final attack in Raging Torrent counts as part of the ability. So after you hit them with the first 4 attacks, a lot of times they're below 30% health. So that last hit getting the boost, it's actually pretty helpful. This one should be a no-brainer, up to 50% additional base damage, depending basically how deep you are in the clump. Some people recommend playing with this just for the extra damage, but you'd be surprised how often Defy Death saves you. Just another reason to run Divine. Take all of Berserk, all of Raging Torrent, all of Social Distancing. The Throwing Hatchet, I don't use it super often unless I'm just out of stuff to do and somebody's getting away and they're super low HP. Extra crit chance, stamina back on crit, and this one's pretty mandatory. As soon as you put the slow on them with social distance, they're taking 10% extra damage here and 10% from 200 strength. I talked about this a little bit in the video. When you're trying to escape, a lot of times I'll just hit Raging Torrent, dodge out, and this lets me conserve a little bit of stamina while doing that. Same thing as if you're getting chased by a bunch of people. A lot of times I'll do a quick 180 social distance whoever's in the front of the pack and then immediately dodge just to create as much of a gap as possible and just be invulnerable the entire time doing it. But it lets you conserve a good bit of stamina while you're doing it. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Oh, attributes. Even 200 split. I had to go 2 points in int because of Magnify. Honestly, even if Magnify didn't exist, I'm pretty sure this is the split I would go with anyway, just because the extra 10% armor and medium is pretty nice. 10% backstab damage. The way I play Hatchet is very good, and this is also very strong for both weapons because they both have slows and the spear has knockdown. Hey, get out of here! What the hell are you guys doing? Anyway, let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys in Outpost Rush.